y'all. It's your girl Coco Kinsey back at it again on Coco Wednesdays. Y'all. Let's just get into it. I don't even know how to break into this topic. So recently I was out at an engagement and it was a room, as the room was panned or whichever. It was a room full of athletes, black male athletes in particular, a few mixed, but mostly black male athletes. And so they were with their spouses, they were with their girlfriends, significant others. And as they panned the room, as they kind of just went around and looking, I noticed that there were no black women with these black men, no black women at a distance. So let me say, they could have been black, and it doesn't make them any less black if they weren't, obviously, But just out of, let's say, 20 something, literally none were obviously black. It were maybe ambiguous, maybe a couple of ambiguous, but even that was slim pickings. And so, of course, there's been much rumbling around the internet since the death of Kevin Samuels. And first of all, I said I wasn't even going to talk about it because I don't believe in dragging people when they're not here to defend themselves. And there really is no reason to drag them, because the same thing I'm going to say about the men in the room, or not, let me not say that I'm going to say this about them, because everybody is not the same, and everybody is, they're genuinely people who have just fallen in love. And let me speak and go ahead and say ahead of time, I'm not Dr. Umar. I hate to keep saying that because maybe like in some ways I'm turning into him, but I'm not. And so I'm not against, interracial dating. I see some of his viewpoints when he talks about it breaking up the black family home and that. But I think everything's within reason. But I will say that just too many of our successful men, or so many, there are too few who seem to have or be in relationships, and long-term relationships with black women. It seems that the measure of success, unfortunately, for so many, again, not all, because there's a lot of black men who love and adore and cherish, black women. But there are just too many that don't value, we won't even get into just, the work ethic, the things that other races can do that when we do it is not deemed the same. But just from a physical standpoint, just too many of our men don't see us as beautiful. They don't value our physical traits. And it even shows sometimes in the children, because I'll look at a lot of athletes in particular. I mean, and I can even go into other fields, but I'm going to stay with the athletes for this just because that's who I saw in this particular moment in time. But a lot of the athletes, you look at their first children, their younger children, a lot of times they'll be brown, darker. And then as they go on, and you'll see like their younger children, and they're light, and then you go back and see, and again, it's nothing again, because I'm not anti-light, let me just be, but I do think that there is just an undervaluing of the black woman. And I'm not going to go too deep because Kevin Samuels is deceased now, and he has been dragged and drugged in ways that I can't say that I agree with. I can understand the frustration. Prior to his death, I had never seen a complete video. I had seen snippets. But prior to his death, I couldn't make it through. It was triggering to me, annoying. I couldn't, y'all. I could not. Okay. But I decided, okay, it was worth, let me see what all the hype is about. And so I actually did listen. Now, I don't believe anything typically is all one way. He had some valid points. His delivery was poo-poo. His delivery was crap. And what it just showed me again, like, just the brokenness of Black men. And it's not to tear them down in any way, shape, or form, but it's just the lack of self-love, the lack of not liking somebody that looks like your mother, your grandmother, that you don't deem those type of women worthy. Once you get to a certain success level, so once you get to certain circles, you can't have just say the regular Black woman. Then there's certain features that you look for, and that you look for so much that now, unfortunately, so many of us as Black women are, and I can't say just now, so when I just mean in recent modern times, and I'm sure this is just the traits of history, this is what people do, you adapt to what society says is okay. But so many of our Black women, we are starting to change ourselves to accommodate what seems to be acceptable or what is desired. Because if I see all these men who like a certain type of women, or when you ask them what type of woman they like, a lot of times it might not necessarily be a white woman or a woman of another race, but it is a woman with particular Eurocentric features. And it's become so much embedded into who we are, like that I look at so many of the women online when we're using those filters that are to enhance us almost automatically. I hate to see that the enhancement automatically seems to always mean a lightening of the skin, or a slimming of the nose, or just certain features that are deemed too Black. And it's just so disappointing. I see so many women on my timeline, or that I personally know, just versus what you see online. And prior to, beautiful both ways, seriously, beautiful both ways. But as soon as they, get glammed, you see the nose is contoured, to meet European standards. The lips, if they're not big, again, because big lips are becoming the it thing, which is saddening. But I will see sometimes, like, where we're going to try to, hide the lips, or if we are making them more prominent, it's because another race has said it is okay, instead of us taking back and grabbing back the beauty that was ours to begin with. And it doesn't mean that anybody else is any less, but just owning who you are, owning yourself, and finding and accepting that beauty as is. I even look down to, granted, I am a nappy head, Rasta looking girl with my locks, but even down to, the faux locks are so popular right now. But the ones that are popular are not the ones typically that look like nappy dreads. The ones typically that are popular are the ones that look like that you have a certain type of hair. And again, and it's not to say it's any judgment on anybody, but I do feel as though we live in such a society just where very subtle, you can get caught up in this wave and not even realize that you're in it. So in order to have certain styles, so even like a lot of people that go natural, I see so many women go natural, and they may spend hundreds of dollars on products to change the texture of their hair to get it to a particular curl pattern, instead of embracing the curl pattern as is. And no, it does not mean you have to go, just kind of untamed. But then just kind of, as we look at it, who defines what is tamed? And just being able to check ourselves and to see kind of, have we fallen into the pattern? Have we fallen into the pattern of self-hate? And I say all that to say, I don't know if you guys remembered, I guess it was the last episode that I did prior to last week. And I said I just really, really felt inspired. First of all, through self-care. Self-care also, in turn, also means self-love. Because we first have to love ourselves. But I said I was getting into entrepreneurship on my own, like separate from my husband. So I wanted to have my own thing. Well, that thing is this. I am so excited to be getting back into photography. It is something that I love, and I just truly have been inspired by, because the lack of the lack of Black women that I see, the lack of representation is so disappointing. Am I only going to shoot Black women? No, of course not. I cannot wait to shoot everybody and anybody, and I completely welcome it. But I would be lying that if I said that my inspiration didn't come from the excitement of being able to hopefully have a space that is for Black women to be celebrated and celebrated as is. Because I went back and forth on trying to decide if I wanted to get a makeup artist, which I may, I may in the future down the road, but I want you to come as is. Like, when you come to me, first of all, I'm in the process. I'm so excited. I will share pictures, videos soon of studio in progress, and I will share the story of what that has been and what it started as. But not today, but I will share it. And I'm just so excited to create this space and particularly start out with my first one. A couple of my first sessions will in particularly be geared towards celebrating the Black women as is, because I want you to come as you are. So I really did go back and forth on a makeup artist, hairstylist, but I want you to come as your best self, whatever that looks like to you. And I always give people the example of Lunel. And I say Lunel because I know some people might not see her as beautiful or Whoopi or what, whatever. Well, now these are women that I love and adore. I think are hilarious. They bring so much to the table, whether you love them or hate them. But I want you to come looking like yourself. There have been so many times I've gone somewhere and I've gotten glammed up and I think I look beautiful, but I don't think I look like me. And so when you come, I want you to come to me and trust that I will bring out the best of you. So I'm so excited to do that. And because I want you to be able to take these pictures, and this goes for anybody, but because I'm particularly talking about celebrating and representation of Black women, I must say that is my focus. But I want you to be able to take these photos, these portraits home, and I want you to be able to show them to our babies and show them with pride and with confidence what mama can look like and what they have or potentially can look forward to. And I want those that love us, especially those men in our lives, to celebrate it as well, so our babies can see this and so they can see and know that we're just as beautiful as anybody. We're just as beautiful as is. Because even as we think about the trends, and again, this is not to down anybody at all, not in the least bit to down any other races at all, but just to say, and again, own our own beauty. Like, before the goal was to always try to get thin. You got to get thin. Get rid of this big donkey butt. You got to get rid of this. You got to get it. And then as soon as a few group of women who shall remain nameless came about and decided, oh, well, we're going to put stuff in our butts. We're going to put stuff in our lips. We're going to do all the things that it was said that were wrong to us, that we didn't accept as beauty. But when they did it, then it was all of a sudden it was okay. It was okay, and everybody wanted to do it, to the point where we began making our own the features that we already had. We began to alter them because we still didn't think we were enough. So again, whether you have a fake butt, fake tits, whatever your choice is, I just want you to walk away feeling celebrated, feeling embraced, feeling loved, and just walk away with food for thought. And then also maybe give our men something to think about, okay? Again, not saying you can love who you love, but just genuinely love them. And I want our men and us, first of all, self-love. You got to love yourself first. I want us to step back and think about who we are and who we want to be, who we want to represent, because a lot of us got little eyes looking at us. And so we set the tone, we set the standard, okay? And then our men, I want them to take a step back and think about, like, are we dating a particular type of woman once we do get to a certain level that we think that, she doesn't meet the standard anymore of the groups that I'm in, that I walk in. I don't think that she is deemed pretty enough, and that are we projecting our self-hate? I just want us all to take a moment to pause and think about that and how we can be better and how we can just begin to love ourselves, love our sisters, and first love us, then venture out, do whatever, like, but love your moms, love your aunties, love your cousins, love your grandmas, love them as is, and then take a step back and see if, and you know, just again, like I said, am I projecting that self-hate? So that's all I got today, y'all. And definitely be on the lookout. I will be leaving my link, not in this video, because I just got a lot of work to do, and I struggle with perfectionism. I'm working on it, y'all. It is hard. It is harder to do than expected, but I'm making progress, baby steps. But I will be sharing the link soon and all the information on how my photography is going, how the studio setup is going. And I would usually say don't wait on your dreams, like, you know, just go ahead and go after it. But I truly want to make sure that I do this well because it is so important to me as I start out. But be on the lookout soon. Stay tuned, guys, okay? So I will check you in the next video. As always, peace, love, and blessings. Continue the conversation. It's definitely much needed. And I look forward to checking with you guys next week. Talk to you later.